Hey, good morning, class. Welcome in. Hope you had a nice weekend. We are moving on to our fourth discussion in ancient Greece. Today, we're going to take a look at Athens democracy. We're going to take a look at the rise of philosophy, and we'll also take a look at a clash between Athens and Sparta. So, again, we left off last time talking about the Persian Wars, where we saw a united alliance against an external threat with the Persians. Now, we're going to kind of look a little more in depth into Athens and Sparta. So let's start out with Athens and kind of taking a look at democracy and Greece's golden age. Okay, so for close to 50 years, all right, from 477 to 431 BC, Athens is going to experience growth in intellectual and artistic learning. So they are going to start to prosper. They're going to start to really become inquisitive about the world around them. And the person that's going to lead this is going to be a man by the name of Pericles. So Pericles is going to lead Athens during much of this golden age. All right, he was a successful politician, he was an inspiring speaker, and he was a respected general. Okay, so he had three main goals for Athens. All right, so the first one is to strengthen democracy. Hey, we have to strengthen our democracy. We got to make sure that our process is top notch and that we are having a fair share at our approach and how we're doing things. Next, he wanted to hold and strengthen the empire. And lastly, he wanted to glorify Athens. Okay, how do you glorify Athens? Well, this is something he really had a big thought on, and that's what we're going to take a look at. So, first, a stronger democracy. To strengthen democracy, Pericles increases the number of public officials who are paid salaries. Uh, Earlier, only the wealthy could make money in these positions, but Pericles basically opens up to the poor. So, remember, democratically speaking, again, the men that were able to participate had a chance to make money in these positions. Athens had more self-engagement than any other Greek city-state. So they're going to talk amongst themselves. They're going to work out their problems. They're going to come together, and they're going to have more self-engagement. Pericles also is going to introduce direct democracy. All right, so this is what direct rule by the citizens instead of representatives. Okay, males who served in the assembly made all of the important decisions. So on the spot decision making as opposed to, say, a representative who's going to represent the people. So it was done democratically, but it was in a direct motion. That way things got done a little bit faster than they typically did in Athens. All right? So, foundations of Athenian democracy. Here's the thing: citizens were considered citizens. You were male, 18 years old, born of parents uh, who could vote. Okay, laws voted on and proposed are directly by the assembly of all citizens. Okay, a leader was chosen by a lot. Okay, and the executive branch, all right, composed of a council of 500 men. All right, juries would vary in size based on the case, and there were no attorneys, no appeals. You only had 1 day trials. So if you were to commit a crime, you had a 1 day trial. They would determine it on the spot, and the severity of the punishment could depend on the severity of your crime. Okay, those were some of the foundations of Athenian democracy. Now, the Athenian Empire. All right, see this empire is going to start to develop after the defeat of the Persians. Okay, the Athenians would dominate that Delian League, that alliance. They're going to become the leading Greek city-state. The Athenians would develop the most powerful navy and would become the wealthiest of the city-states. So they're going to control the seas. They're going to control trade and commerce. They're going to become very wealthy. And essentially, what does Pericles want to do? Well, he wants to buy gold. He wants to buy ivory, which, as you know, ivory comes from the tusks of elephants. It also comes from the horns of rhinoceros. So this is a very valuable item. And he also wants to bring marble to glorify Athens. And what we mean by glorifying Athens is to essentially, um, you know, make your place look pretty cool. And that's what he's trying to do with Athens. He's trying to make it beautiful. He's trying to essentially show off. And that's what's going on here. Now, some city-states became jealous and resented the actions of Athens over that period of time. So this is something we have to keep in mind. Okay? So, again, Pericles, he's going to essentially glorify Athens. He's going to have the greatest Greek artists, all right, devote their skills and their mastery to the art and the architecture within the city of Athens. So he's saying, hey, you are really talented. We want you to come in. We want you to craft what you can and make our city more appealing. The Parthenon, okay, was designed to mimic Greek traditional temples that had been used for over 200 years, okay? It was built to honor the goddess Athena, all right? And it was constructed by the masterful Phidias. And Phidias would go on to express this ideal beauty in his art, a concept that is known today as classical art, okay? So not only do we have art going on in architecture, we also have some of these new concepts of drama and history and really putting them to the test. So the Greeks would develop two types of dramas. Okay, a tragedy was a series where it's a serious drama. You have common themes such as love, hate, war, betrayal. All right, these dramas would feature a tragic hero. Okay, someone that the crowd could sympathize with, but at the same time get frustrated with as well. Okay, some of the best examples of these Greek tragedies include Oedipus the King, Antigone, and Medea. Okay, Greeks also created comedies. All right, so not only do you have tragedies, but you also have comedies. Okay, this is where you see those two masks, the one smiling, the one that's got the frown. Okay, tragedy and comedy. Okay, these would often feature slapstick and crude humor. All right, one of the unique aspects of these comedies was the fact that Athenians were able to make fun of themselves. They were able to criticize each other without any punishment. So they are actually kind of critiquing their society and making fun of it in jest. Herodotus is a Greek who lived in Athens, and he's going to develop actually the first historical book, which is going to chronicle the Persian War. So you start seeing this huge value on historical writings, and you see, again, drama is really kind of being the centerpiece in Athens, where they would come around into the amphitheater, kind of like we have at our school. Here we have an amphitheater. That's where people would come in, they would gather, they would watch these dramas and comedies, and then you also have historians who are basically chronicling all of these events. All right? As I mentioned, Athens is starting to show off. They're starting to become a little bit full of themselves, a little bit arrogant, a little bit conceited, and these are things that other city-states are going to take issue with. As they're going to grow into prominence, all right, other city-states are going to view Athens with hostility, okay? Many felt that due to these tensions, Athens and Sparta would go to war. It was just a matter of time, all right? So in 431 BC, Sparta is actually going to declare war on Athens, all right? This is known as the Peloponnesian War, all right? Athens had the naval advantage, while Sparta had the army advantage, all right? The Spartans eventually would sweep through Athens, and they essentially burned the Athenian food supply. Okay, over the course of 27 years, back and forth, the Spartans would battle, and they were going to batter and decimate the Athenian Empire. All right, the Spartans would be the victors in this conflict. Okay, I have a really detailed map of the Peloponnesian War. Of course, the bell is still ringing. That Peloponnesian War is going to be on that Peloponnesian Peninsula. Okay, so it really kind of gives you an idea of where Spartan victories are and where Athenian victories were. Okay, so out of all of this, all right, after the war, many Greeks began to question their government. They're going to start looking at their government. They're going to start looking at this whole procedure, and they're going to come up with some questions. These thinkers, all right, would seek the truth and become known as philosophers, all right, which really means a lover of wisdom. Okay, the universe is put together in an orderly way. All right, people began to understand the universal laws through logic and reason. They're starting to really think about the world around them. Okay? Socrates is going to emerge as the leading Greek philosopher. All right, he felt that Greeks should go beyond their moral character and begin questioning themselves. Why am I here? What am I doing? Why am I constantly in the same cycle? All right, and how do I break that cycle? So he really is starting to think outside the box. He's starting to think about life. He's starting to think about the self, and that in itself will become a little bit troubling. So in 399, all right, Socrates is going to be brought to trial at 70 years old, all right, for corrupting the youth. All right, he was condemned to death and forced to drink hemlock. All right, this is a very slow-acting poison that essentially destroyed his insides. So he's forced to drink hemlock because he's teaching the youth things that Athenians are not too pleased with. So again, people take issue with it. And again, philosophers are going to really be kind of put on the spot. Well, understand this, all right? there's going to be other philosophers who are going to emerge. Plato, a student of Socrates, would write down all the conversations that he had with Socrates as a means of philosophical investigation. Okay, he wrote The Republic, all right, in which a basically has a perfect society with three classes. All right, the ruling class, those that are up in charge, the warriors, and then the farmers. Okay, in it, he basically suggests the person with the best insight in intellect would become the philosopher king. So those that are able to take the next step, all right, see the most around them, become the smartest in the room. All right, they're going to become known as the philosopher king. All right. Um, Again, Plato's student is going to notice a pattern here. We have Socrates' student, Plato, and now Plato's student, Aristotle, is going to question the nature of the world. All right, human belief and knowledge. All right, he's going to apply these methods for problems in psychology, physics, and biology. Okay. Later, one of Aristotle's students, all right, Alexander of Macedonia, would go on to become one of the most powerful emperors the world has ever known, and he's going to become Alexander the Great. And that's going to be our final discussion. Our last discussion, tie everything together, will be Alexander the Great, and that will be our next discussion. So we will get to that point, all right? But we are going to have a journal log associated with this discussion. A lot going on, but knowing that Athens is starting to emerge as the powerful city-state in Greece, and that they were met with some hostility because of it. Okay? All right, guys. Well, again, appreciate you coming in here for the video lecture. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.